Man, I had a pretty rough day today. Well, earlier I thought I was having a great day because after class I got to go see We Live in Time, and it was such a wholesome movie that really brought me into my tears and moved me. Yeah, I mean, go check out my out of theater review on We Live in Time for more thoughts in it. But then my day got ruined a few hours after I saw We Live in Time because Trump became president of the United States, won against Kamala Harris. Uh, hey, but you know what would kind of cheer me up? Reviewing a fun movie. A movie that I rewatched last night, but oh well, I mean, what are the odds? Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. With the release of Red One, I am going to be reviewing Jake Kasdan's previous films in preparation for it. I'm going to be seeing Red One tomorrow, but don't worry, yes, I will be able to catch up with my Jumanji review since, since, don't worry, I'll just be able to catch up. But so, yeah. Anyways, guys, I am here today to review Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. So, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is the second installment in the Jumanji franchise. Well, I know people say this is a reboot, but technically it's a sequel to the 1995 Robin Williams cult classic. And it came out in the year 2017 and is directed by Jake Kasdan, the director of the rest of the Jumanji franchise, and Red One, which has just came out in my country, and it stars Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillian, Riza Darby, Bobby Cannavale, Nick Jonas, Alex Wolff, Sir Darius Blaine, Madison Eastman, who is that actress who played Martha? It's not here in the cast list. I remember right now. Oh yeah, Morgan Turner. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, it's Morgan Turner. And so the film tells the story of four students: Spencer, Moose, Spencer, Gilpin, Moose, Franklin, Martha, and Bethany, who were all like stuck together in detention because they got into trouble. Yeah, pretty much. Spencer and Moose cheated on the assignment. Martha Martha rejected PE, and Madison was on a no, sorry, Bethany, my bad. Bethany was on a phone call, and so yeah, while they were stuck in detention together, they found this game called Jumanji, which is apparently an old video game, and then they activated it, and it led them into the world of Jumanji, and yeah, they found themselves trapped, and in order to get out of Jumanji, they must play the game in real life by completing a mission to save Jumanji from an evil villain. I know it sounds cheesy, like named Van Pelta, who has stolen the jewel of Jumanji, and it's cursed, and so they must find all the clues to lift the curse. So yeah, Now, as for my quick thoughts on the original Jumanji film, now I won't say a lot because yes, guys, I will eventually review the original one, but not right now because I didn't have enough time to. I wasn't even planning to. I rewatched it recently just so I could be able to properly compare it to the sequels. And I gotta say, it is a solid film. It's decent, but I will say that it's probably my least favorite Jumanji film. I mean, while I appreciate it for being dark and gritty, unlike the other Jumanji films which were leaned towards comedy, it did struggle to find an identity of its own. And it had its problems and things that don't make sense, bad logic. Yeah, so when will I review the original Jumanji, you may ask? Well, recently they did announce a fourth Jumanji movie coming in December 2026, so that's when I'll review the original. But with this in the next level, yeah, I think I'll just get them out of the way for Jake Kasdan's new film, Red One. So yeah, now, as for Jumanji, this film, yeah, I know a lot of people were dreading this film. Like no, like people were not excited for this one. And I gotta say, I was actually one of those people, like, ever since they announced it, and let alone Dwayne Johnson not being in it. Now, I didn't mind Dwayne Johnson at the time, but I just thought that this was an unnecessary sequel because what more could they do with it? Like, what could they do with it? Yeah, like, if they do Jumanji movie without Robin Williams, and even the trailer made it look worse because it looked like garbage. Yeah, this movie looked absolutely rubbish from the trailer, and I honestly predicted that this was going to be one of the worst movies of 2017. Yeah, and it was going to be a massive disgrace to the original Robin Williams film. Now, the only reason I eventually got semi-interested later on, not only because of the positive reviews, but because it was coming on my birthday in my country, and I was going to see it for my 14th birthday. And, I love the movies I watch on my birthday. I mean, yeah, sure, some of them stink, like Walking with Dinosaurs, ugh, and especially Sing, the first one. But, yeah, I mean, Jumanji, I just was just hoping it won't be bad, but I still had low expectations either way. But color me surprised. Yeah, this movie really shocked me by how good it was. And yeah, I still like this film to this day. Yeah. And I gotta say, yeah, I mean, spoiler for my thoughts on Jumanji, but the next level, but it's not as good as this film because Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle would be my personal favorite Jumanji movie. And yeah, not only is this the biggest surprise of 2017, but one of the most shockingly good movies I've ever seen. Because I thought it was going to disrespect the original, but it wasn't. Yeah, whoever marketed those god awful trailers should be ashamed of themselves, and honestly, they deserve to get fired. I mean, if you thought Transformers One had the worst marketing for a good movie, just let me just remind you all about how poorly marketed this was. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie is no masterpiece by any means, and it definitely has its flaws. Yeah, maybe I'll get to my issues with the film first before I get into what exactly I really liked about the film. Yeah, I think that my biggest criticism with the film is Dwayne Johnson. Oh dear. Now I don't get me wrong, guys. I don't think Dwayne Johnson is a bad actor as much as people make him out to be. He's not terrible. I mean, he does have great animated voice roles, like Maui, for example. Yeah, Maui is Dwayne Johnson's best performance, period. And also, I would say that he was pretty decent as Black Adam. Like, maybe, yeah, sure, he did have his bald head on, like his usual, but I mean, I would say that Black Adam's the one time where I didn't really feel like he was like playing himself as a criticism. Even though I do have my flaws with Black Adam, I actually liked Dwayne Johnson in it. And also, also the Smashing Machine is that one film where Dwayne Johnson actually is not going to play himself. With Fighting My Family, I actually understand why Dwayne Johnson had to play himself. It actually made sense, but for so many of these Dwayne Johnson films, yeah, Dwayne Johnson constantly just plays himself. Like we don't see any character in like his roles. He's just himself all the time, like doing like the exact same thing. And this movie, yeah, Dwayne Johnson does the same thing that your typical average Dwayne Johnson would do. Yeah, he was so bland in this one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I will say that even though even though it's better than the original Jumanji, I will give it this. Like, Robin Williams is a way better lead than Dwayne Johnson. I mean, Van Pelt was a meh villain. Now, he's not as atrocious as people make him out to be. I do think that he is, at the very least, better than the original films of Van Pelt, because the villain in the original, yeah, he's a freaking nobody. Also, why reuse the name Russell Van Pelt? Even if he's not the same character as the one in the original. Yeah, some of the CGI is mediocre and the green screen is noticeable, but not as bad as people make it out to be. Oh, and also, one thing I forgot to mention in my Letterboxd review, so would have to be pretty much, well, this is just a nitpick though. This is only a nitpick. It's not really a major flaw, but I found it really stupid that the reason for Martha's being getting into detention was because she just expressed her opinion. Like she literally told a PE coach that she does not like PE and gave good points. And even though I think PE is one of my favorite subjects, and I think she clearly does not understand how PE is part of education. It actually does make sense. It does make sense, especially to her personality and at the end of the day, it's just her opinion and she doesn't like PE. But that doesn't mean the teacher should send the student to detention just because the student does not like a subject. And that is honestly pretty stupid. That's just dumb. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the film's storyline or quality. So yeah, I'll just let that slide. But now let's get into what's great about this film. What I really liked about this one. So yeah, where do I get started with this? Yeah, there's a lot to say. I will start off by saying the best thing that this movie did, like the biggest compliment I can give it, is how it was it was its own thing while adding in key elements to the original without destroying it. Yeah, I mean, even though this is a sequel, it doesn't try to like copy off the original or try to like do anything to disdain Robin Williams' legacy. It feels like a standalone sequel. The story is very different from the original. Okay, well maybe the story is nothing special, but it is like a solid story that again it feels very distant from the original. Like the only thing that literally connects to the original was the fact that Alan Parrish's house exists in the world Jumanji, and the fact that we see the Jumanji board game buried in the sand, just like in the end of the original Jumanji. But that's like literally the only connections. I mean, by having it be standalone, you actually it comes off as just a harmless, fun movie. And yes, it has the same premise as the original Jumanji, but it is still told and executed in a different way. It's not it wants nothing more than to be fun. It's not trying to be deep with heavy themes, and that's the key word for this film. Fun. It's all around fun. It's fun. The main characters deliver such a strong chemistry, very strong enough to make me care about them. Well, even though Dwayne Johnson's performance is flat, I actually do like Spencer. Probably my least favorite of the group though. Yeah, Karen Gillan is easily the standout of the film, and Ruby Roundhouse is not only the best character of this film, but the best Jumanji character in general. It's not only because she's hot and sexy, but because Karen Gillan did a perfect job embodying her as Martha, like her Martha self, and unlike the other actors who pretty much just feel like act a bit different from their teenage real world counterparts, Karen Gillan did a perfect job trying to embody like Martha, like she really did act like her. And although we got Kevin Hart and Jack Black, two actors who typically play themselves in movies, they were actually pretty passable here because at least unlike Dwayne Johnson, there was some charisma to them. But anyways, going back to Ruby Roundhouse, she is also the most badass character in the film, especially with that dance fight, like "Oh baby, I love you." Yeah, that dance fight is the best scene in the entire film, like easily, like hands down. Yeah, so I'm glad that they're able to include some girl power moments. And talking about comedy, yeah, I honestly have not been laughing hard at the comedy movie in a while. I actually did lose interest in comedies. I was like thinking maybe comedy is actually the worst genre. Maybe I actually don't like comedies. But this movie just did it for me. Just when all hope was lost for comedies to me, this film reminded me about what it's like to laugh at comedies when the jokes land and just have a good time laughing. Although I still stand by considering action to be my go-to entertainment value for in film more even more than comedies. Kevin Hart usually has low brow humor, especially in a vast majority of his animated films. But he was actually funny in this one. Yeah, his jokes actually did make me laugh, especially in that one scene where when he tried to like fight Spencer, like he tried to be tough as him, and then he had a fight with him, and then he pushed Spencer off the cliff. Yeah, I mean that was actually funny. I mean, yeah, he only did it because he just wanted to because what Spencer had no weakness. Yeah, that was actually funny. Even the idea of Bethany turning into a man worked as a gag, and that's something I wouldn't like in paper. Like a woman turning into a man, that would have been something so sexist. But this is actually but this is still but this still like executed it cleverly because as Professor Shelley Oberon, yeah, I mean Bethany tries to learn what it's like to be a man, especially when it means like peeing for the first time and realizing how much men pee easier than women. But at the end of the day, Bethany still acknowledges that she's a woman and she does not want to be like, I wish I was a man. Yeah, that's why the premise of a woman turning to a man worked, even if it was played for comedy purposes. Alex is my favorite male character in the film, and my second favorite character in this film, second only behind Ruby Roundhouse. He was the heart of the film, and you'd feel bad for him as he got stuck in the game for 20 years, and he didn't even realize it. Like, you'd really feel bad for his like family and like how they feel about Nick White missing. And all of a sudden he was found that 20 years later. And the action scenes are the cherry on top of the film. Sure, they're not like special, and they're nowhere near among like the greatest action scenes ever put to film, but they do provide massive entertainment value. There's some like great stuff in here. I mentioned the dance fight as well, like which is the funniest scene in the film to me. The final battle, the motorcycle chase, the market fight, you name it. Yeah. And this movie does have a great message of friendship and teamwork, and how just working together can get a group to bond even if they wouldn't really like or care about each other like in the beginning. So overall, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle may not be a masterpiece or anything. It's nowhere near that. But it is my favorite Jumanji movie. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it even fixes flaws from the original, which I forgot to mention. The original had a mishmash of different identities and couldn't really find one, while this one had an actual identity of its own. I'm glad I saw this in theaters on my birthday. I think this is one of the better birthday movies I've had. However, I still hate how I saw this film in IMAX because yes, I did pick IMAX only because I wanted a special theater my birthday. But yeah, this movie does not fit on the IMAX screen. I even saw Jumanji: The Next Level theaters, no, in IMAX. Although it was for a more understandable reason. I would I'll explain why in my Jumanji: The Next Level review, like why it's more understandable. But yeah, I mean I could have watched it somewhere else, but yeah, IMAX was the wrong choice. This and The Next Level are probably the worst IMAX experiences I've ever had, just due to how unfitting they are. Yeah. So yeah, anyways, with that said, guys, I'm going to give Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle 4 stars out of 5. Great film. So also for my review of Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, what are your thoughts on the film? Who agrees with me that this is the best Jumanji level? Or do you think that one of the other two Jumanji movies are better than this? Would you say the original Jumanji is better than this? Or do you actually somehow prefer the next level over this? Yes, so yeah. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on Jumanji, the next level, coming tomorrow morning in my country. So yeah, bye guys.